What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out and supporting this episode of Raised a Geek. This week, we talk about Squid Games 2. Does this phenomenon have legs, or was it a one-hit wonder? Let's find out this week. I'm here with Tony and Don. How we doing, guys? I almost said Tony and Chris, but Tony and Don.
Tony and Chris. What? I don't even remember my
Yeah,
opening.
it's fine.
We're all mixed
push
up.
through. Just push through. I messed it up.
I am good. Everything is all right. I usually say, Chris, what is up today, my friend? And Tony, my other friend.
There it
My
is.
two friends. There it is. I found it. Everything's all right. I'm doing okay on this middle of January, cold January day.
It's cold here, too.
It ain't cold like here.
We're going to get down in the 20s in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
I got to cover
it's
my
10 right now.
plants and my pipes.
This is when you start doing like the faucet drip, so your pipes don't freeze.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but whatever. It happens every year. We're used to it. I'm good. How are you, Chris and Tony? How are you guys?
Doing all right, same thing. Cold. It's currently 9 degrees outside, Chris. So
Yeah, we got that low of -1 shit. You don't know nothing about that.
I don't know nothing. I know a little, but it's been a minute.
yeah, I got 12-hour work day tomorrow and 14-hour on Tuesday because I have to stay at work till 2 a.m. because we're extending our hours because it's freezing.
Yeah.
That's when you should shorten your hours when it's freezing.
No, we gotta have somebody on site while the equipment's running.
Just in case.
Gotta keep the buildings warm.
Just in case. No, I hear that. I went to the video store today, seeing what half-price books, see what kind of DVDs they were selling. I was able to find a still sealed copy of Lars and the Real Girl for $4.99.
Dollar Tree?
I was very excited about that.
Yeah.
When you said I went to the video store, that's what we always used to refer to as like Family Video, Blockbuster. So I was very confused at first. There's still those? There's still video stores?
No, but we have several around here. I wanted to hit up all of the used like DVD stores, like Movie Replay. I feel like Disc Replay, Movie Replay. So I started going to them, and they're always in these like shitty plazas, and I kind of would see them, and I'm like, that place looks like a hole. I don't want to know who's in there. But I started going to them. They are nice as hell inside, and it felt like I was walking around a video store, like just movies, and I'm like, what's here? And you're just looking at it like, hey, buy 4 movies, get 2 free. I'm like, hell yeah. And I'm just like walking around the video store, and it gave me all those vibes of doing that. And what I've been also pleasantly surprised about is that the stores have been packed. When I'm in there, there's at least like a dozen or more people just wandering around this little store looking at movies. And I was just like, this is great, and I love bringing this experience back. So that's what I was saying. Hey, I'm going to the video store. I'm gonna go look for some movies. But today I haven't found one.
I don't have a working DVD player, Blu-ray player anymore. I probably got rid of them or sold them. Does a PlayStation 5 still work?
The PlayStation 5 is a 4K player.
But can you put like just a DVD in there?
DVD, CDs, it plays CDs I don't know about. But
CDs,
DVDs,
nobody has
I don't know about
CDs.
that. But CDs, Blu-rays, and then 4K discs all play in the PlayStation 5. Okay. I was watching 4K yesterday. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Chris, you're going back to that old. You're like getting close to one of these survivalists. Like, I gotta stocking up on physical media. Next thing is gonna be like canned food.
Yep. Starting with DVDs, with what's important.
Emergency packs.
Hey, when streaming goes down, you guys are all going to be like, what am I going to do to entertain myself? And you'll be like, we got to go to Chris's because he has all 5 seasons of Babylon 5 on DVD.
Listen, if we could just make it to Texas, we're going to be okay.
Chris has got, you guys bring the food. I'll keep us entertained. But it's weird because I think about that sometimes where I'm like, if I buy something digitally, I'm like, well, if the internet goes down and we don't have the internet anymore, I can't read these books. Or what if we have no more power? I need to have books in physical form because if I can't charge my Kindle ever. So I'm like thinking through, and I don't want to plan scenarios. Like sometimes they'll be like, oh, I can't sleep. Let's get this sleeping app, to like listen. But I'm like, but what if the power goes out and I have no power anymore and I get my body trained to need this app to sleep, but phones don't work anymore because I live in an apocalyptic wasteland. How am I going to sleep? I think that those are actual thoughts that I have in my brain.
but you're also thinking, what am I going to use for my entertainment? You know what I'm worried about? Savages breaking through my windows and stabbing me in the face.
They'll bust
Like,
in
that's what I'm
here
concerned.
and be like, "Oh, let's watch some Lost."
Okay.
I'm gonna have my generator going. Get the
I'll
little
just be
Blu-ray
sitting.
player.
I'll just be sitting in a corner with my lantern and my gun and my snacks, waiting for people to bust in. Not worried about that I can watch Babylon 5. That's just maybe
the
that's
corner
just me.
with my lantern and my gun.
This is a raised in apocalypse here.
Do you have a lantern?
No, but I'm gonna get one.
You should get a lantern.
Like an old fire lantern, not just a battery operated one. I want a fire. I need a fire lantern.
See, I only have a battery one. I don't have like a propane or a kerosene one. That
You need
seems
to
like
get
it would
one that
smell.
cranks.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I almost bought one of those after everything that happened in like the Black Mountain and Carolinas and stuff. Like I almost bought one of those ones, and then I was torn between the one on the Amazon because of the reviews, and then I just never bought it. And I know we're gonna have a thunderstorm or something's gonna happen. We're gonna lose power. I'm gonna be mad that I don't have it.
It's true.
Well, I know.
You can find Lars and the Real Girl at Dollar Tree for $1.25.
For real?
Yep.
Well, I got it for $5. It's fine.
You paid $5 for it?
Yeah,
You'll never see that $4 again.
be fine.
Loser.
It'd be fine. It'd be fine.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna stop at Dollar Tree. I'm gonna buy 4 copies of it for the same price you got it for 1.
Then you're gonna have 4 copies of a great movie.
But in that post-apocalyptic world, when people come to get me, I can use that for trading.
Yeah,
Currency.
It's currency.
Currency.
In our soon-to-be future,
And
Lars and the
movie
Real
world.
Girl copies of DVD will be.
Oh, I
currency.
just bought a digital copy of Drive the other night because it wasn't streaming anywhere, and I went to order a hard copy of it because I thought about you, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should just order like a hard copy. And then when I went to order it to get the Blu-ray plus digital copy, like remember it used to come with the ultraviolet?
Yeah.
It like jumped from like $12 to like $38 to have it come with a digital copy. And then it was on sale on Apple, I think, for $3.99 to buy. So I just bought that, and now I have it to stream. But yeah. So we
Hear
both
that.
bought Ryan Gosling movies this week.
We did.
Oh my gosh.
Done. Did you buy Blade Runner?
I bought La La Land, guys. It was a really cheap, and no, I'm just lying.
I love that
I
movie.
still never seen that.
I love that movie.
I know.
I haven't
Love
either.
it. Pops up on my top favorite. We didn't plan any kind of conversation here in the beginning of this, and this is not the conversation I thought we were going to have. Apocalyptic doomsday prepping and things, but I guess it's somewhat appropriate as we talk about Squid Games 2.
It's pretty apocalyptic.
Squid Games 2. It took 3 years.
Wait, hold on. Is
What?
it Squid Games or Squid Game?
Oh my God,
I
it's
was-
Squid Game.
Okay, I always hear people say like Squid Games. I'm like, nope, you're wrong. It's just one singular game.
I just
Well,
took away the
they
S.
play multiple games.
Right, but it's the Squid Game, I think.
Not like the Super Bowls. It's the Super Bowl.
Jules.
Jules,
Aldi's.
Kroger's.
Ventures. You guys are from Chicago.
We love to throw S's on things. So I
Yeah.
threw it on Squid Games.
Okay.
My Chicago heritage came out there. As Squid Games did.
Yeah.
But yes, as I look down on the character sheet that Tony shared with us before we started recording, it does say Squid Game Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched it.
We
And we're going
did.
to talk about it. We're going to talk about it right now. You guys
Mhm.
ready?
Yeah.
Squid Game 2. So, quick synopsis of Squid Game 2 coming up, and then I'm going to do a quick, just kind of like recap of season 1, just to kind of like get us all in the thing. So, I'm going to read for a second as fast as possible. Ready? Here we go. Squid Game 2. The deadly game. I can't read. The deadly games return in Squid Game Season 2, bringing new twists, higher stakes, and fresh challenges for a group of desperate participants. With secrets from the organization slowly unraveling and shocking revelations about its mysterious leaders, this season dives deeper into the human cost of survival and the darkness behind the games. So, like I said, this was about 3 years, I think, from Squid Game 1. That was a pandemic show, wasn't it? It was there with
no.
like Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is like 2020, 2021.
Somewhere in there
Right.
where we were all staying home, and it blew up as this huge phenomenon. And then as I sat down to watch Squid Game 2, I was like, I don't know what's happening in this. So a quick recap of season 1 is follows. Season 1 follows Song Ji-hun, a down-on-his-luck gambler, as he entered a secret competition promising a massive cash prize. The games, however, turn out to be brutal life-or-death challenges, with participants risking everything to escape crushing debts. After surviving harrowing games like Red Light, Green Light, and Tug of War, Gi-hun emerges as the winner, but was left haunted by the experience. The season ended with him refusing to spend the prize money, vowing to uncover the truth behind the games and confronting the mysterious recruiter with red hair.
With the red hair.
Yeah, he had red hair at the end, and I don't know why they dyed his hair red to like after
It
he
was
won.
purple.
I thought it was blue. Maybe I'm misremembering. It might have been red.
I thought it was purple.
Man, all of our TVs are crazy.
Or maybe I'm just colorblind.
I remember
I
that
think we've
the end
established that you're colorblind, Don.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had these conversations with you before.
the end of the first season, I can remember that last episode. It showed him with that colored hair, and I was like, "Oh, that's a choice for them to make his hair." I mean, there has to be a reason they did that.
And he started this season with to me it was like a red pink hair, and then like the next scene it was gone.
I don't remember.
So yeah,
I don't remember that.
I was like, why did they do that? Why did they change his hair? But anyway, that's really has nothing to do with anything.
Well, before we even talk about season 2, like what were your thoughts, if you can remember back that far, season 1? Like, did you, obviously we all liked it enough to come back and watch a second season of it, but like what were your thoughts then? Was it like a groundbreaking thing? Were you in on the hype? Did you dislike parts of it? Like, what did you think of that show before this, watching this season 2? Anybody?
I was excited that another season was coming out because I remembered I liked season 1. Once you got like past the brutality of the first episode, I think it was kind of like, okay, I guess I'm in this now. Now I need to see what happens. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I dug
enough
it. I
to
jumped
be
on.
excited about this.
I jumped on season 1 after the hype. You know, the hype got me. Hype always gets me. I'm easily influenced by hype, and I wanted to see it. Everyone was talking about how it was just like you've never seen anything like it before, and it's crazy and it's stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me watch this. And then I watched it, and it was like, this is like every other Asian show anime that I've watched in my entire life. So I realized that was when I realized that American people didn't watch a lot of Asian cinema.
Which they don't.
Which I don't. So this was shocking, and I was like, and I know you've both probably heard me say this, and I think I've said it on this show before, but it just reminded me of Alice in Borderland, which is another show on Netflix that did all of this better. So I enjoyed that show a million times better than Squid Game, but I was entertained by Squid Game overall, and enough to be curious as to what they were going to do. Now, the question is, did any of you watch the Squid Game competitions?
Like when they did the
reality show Squid Game shows? I mean, that seems right up Tony's alley.
No, I've seen some. Who's the content guy, Mr. Beast stuff? I've seen some of his Squid Games type. I've seen his stuff's all over like my algorithm and shit. I watch a couple videos, and they start popping up. But I've seen some of his Squid Games type stuff. But there was an actual reality show for Squid Games.
Netflix has like 2 different. It's like Squid Game, the challenge, and they have people go and playing these games for money, and
but they
have
get
like 2
eliminated.
different ones.
They get eliminated, but it's just don't die.
They don't die?
They don't die.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Got to be blood on the line. It seemed like it would be up your alley, so I was waiting for you to be like, oh yeah, I know all the participants.
Listen, I love MTV's The Challenge, but
yeah. No, my thing with season 1 was similar to you guys. I was entertained to a level, and it's more just like this even touches on what I feel about season 2, which we'll get into, but just like the uniqueness and the shock of it, and just how there's not much like it on TV that we're exposed to as Americans, I guess. But I was, sometimes some of it's hard to watch. Like season 1 to me too was. There's parts of season 2 that are the same way, which we'll get into, and I'll touch on that stuff. But I liked it enough, I guess, to watch season 2. So yeah, entertaining enough, season 1.
I agree. Now the question I want to ask: did you guys watch it dubbed or subbed?
Subbed.
Dubbed or dubbed sub. I just left it on dubs because that's how I watched the season 1.
Wait, you had an English dub going the whole time?
Yeah. That's how
How
I
was
watched
it?
it. That's how I
That's how
watched
I
season 1.
watched it.
Did you
Yeah.
guys?
Hell yeah, I
Yeah.
watched that dub. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no, I couldn't do it.
You missed the pure joy of Thanos rapping in dubbed.
He when listen
What up?
wait, he has that in the subbed one where he lets out a few English words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, he
it's
said English
it's
words, but we
completely-
got to hear all of his words as English.
Oh man.
No,
No,
it's
no.
two.
I had
It's
to
two
watch
completely
subtitles,
different
man.
ways to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had no idea, man. You guys are dubbers.
Yeah,
No,
I
I just don't. I'm too lazy
I
to
can't do
change
this.
I couldn't, but there's some shows where I can. I couldn't watch Dark dubbed. I had to watch that one subbed. The
Dude,
German
so-
and the way that it just didn't
Yeah.
work. So once I switched it to subs, I watched that one, and that's how I did it. But for whatever reason, like Squid Game, I was like, I didn't care enough to hear the original. I was like, yeah, whatever, dubs. This will be fun.
See, I tried dark dubbed and I didn't like the acting at all with the dub. So it takes you out of the scene, I feel like.
But I watched Money Heist dubbed.
Never saw Money Heist.
You never watched Money Heist? You need to watch
that
Money
was
Heist.
that was a big show. My thing with
hilarious.
when you have an option for dubs and subs, I feel like usually I'll choose dubbed just because my eyes feel more comfortable, just like being able to watch what's going on instead of I'm very like I don't know if this is like a tick I have or something, but like the looking down and looking up and looking down and looking up thing, like to me, I know I'm doing it sometimes and it takes me out of the show.
Mhm.
So I don't know how I was watching Shogun. I think Shogun might have the ability to do both or
That one was
choose which
just a
one you
lot
do.
of subtitles just because they were speaking Japanese.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't even consider turning the dubs off. I really didn't. Just because even season 1 I watched that way, so I just kept it the same.
So did it take you like how is it a good dub or is it bad? You know what I mean?
It just
It's a big deal. It's a big show. I feel like dubbing's getting better over the past 20 years where they're actually using like better actors and putting the feelings and the emotions into the performance of the dub.
the only thing with dubs is sometimes it feels like the voice that they hire, the American voice, doesn't match the person.
Well,
And
sometimes
it feels
just the cultural aspect. Sometimes, like, because it's weird because, and I know Don, we talked about this when we did our like Godzilla -1 thing. Was sometimes when you're watching like Asian just movies, Japanese, just whatever, a lot of times like they can get very passionate, so they'll start yelling about something, or they'll start like the acting is a little bit different than we're used to. So when they start, you're hearing the English, but then they're just like, you don't really know, and they're just being really like over the top. So it becomes across as comical when you're hearing an English person, like an English voice doing it versus the actual native language. So sometimes it can take you out of it. But to me, it just I don't know, just added to a fun level to me. I just kind of I wasn't looking for anything serious.
Sometimes the energy doesn't match.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what I was going
and
for.
that's
with
what
that.
I'm like, I'd rather watch subtitles or not watch it. No.
Yeah.
There were
that's just me.
moments that probably I shouldn't have laughed at that I probably did because of the dubs.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
then
think I
Thanos.
don't watch a ton of sub stuff. I won't not watch something because it's subtitled, but like I feel like it takes me maybe a minute of watching it and then I'm not thinking about it for the duration, you know?
Yeah.
But
just
it
depends
is
on
one of
if I
those
wanna-
things where I can't check my phone or grab a drink really quick and listen to it and still know what's going on. It's like, no, if I look away from the TV, I have to pause this.
Yeah, you gotta have that like
Yeah.
laser focus.
Yeah.
And that's when I make that difference is like, well, if I'm going to be on my phone, or if I'm going to play a video game, or if I'm going to do something and I want this on just to like be on, then I don't want subbed.
Uh-huh.
But I watched all of Squid Game too, and I didn't necessarily need my phone or any other distractions. I was just kind of curious of how you guys watched it and if it was going to change our experience or our conversation in any
didn't realize-
way.
the first 10 minutes of this podcast was going to be talking about subs and dubs, and I've never heard that term before. And yeah,
You never know what we're gonna talk about here. We talked about Doomsday
We
Prepping and dubs and subs, man. We're gonna talk about like Squid Game for like 3 minutes in this whole thing. But
yeah.
well, let's
um,
talk about
so how lost were you? Did you feel lost when they really started just like dropping names and talking about people and like this
For
first
sure.
episode was a little confusing, right? If you just being 3 years, or were you
Yeah.
right in it?
No, it's like anything where there's that big of a break. You know what I mean? Where you're just waiting, and you forget about stuff. And I probably should have rewatched the first one before I started this, but I watched like a recap video someone made on YouTube, and I felt like it was enough. But even with that, it was like I don't remember anyone's name, maybe besides the main character. When they would show someone's face in a flashback or show somebody running around, it was like, oh, I recognize him. He's the cop. You know what I mean? Okay, I recognize him. He was this. But yeah, I was lost for probably a good episode.
No, yeah, the same. The first episode, like when they were doing flashbacks of the cop, like he got shot on the island by the front man, and oh yeah, was the front man supposed to be his brother? Like I still don't remember if that's true or not. And then I couldn't remember if all the other players from season one died, like the main girl, the old man was like ended up being behind some of it, right? Or something in season one. And like I don't remember any of this. And yeah, that definitely does come along with a 2 or 3 year hiatus. Like same thing on another show we just watched, Severance, which I know we'll talk about another on this show in the future, but like similar things, like no matter how many recaps I watch or things, like there's still just me not knowing what's going on.
Yeah. Takes you a minute to get your footing again.
Yeah.
Like one of the scenes where he's looking at a woman who's like at a restaurant or a fish market, and there's like a little boy walking up, and I was like, oh, is that his kid? I remember he had a son, right? And I'm like, wait, did he not? And it's like, wait, was that one of the players that he played with who died? He's taking care of their family now. And I was like, man, I cannot remember what happened in season one.
In my brain, I thought I remembered that like the one woman that he was playing with had a kid that she was trying to get out of like North Korea.
Yep.
And to bring, so then after he won, he went and gave a bunch of money and then took her and dropped him off with the old lady at the fish market to be raised.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
But then they never talked about it again. So then
a lot of moving parts.
A lot of moving parts. But then we got to oh my god, I forgot his name. Main character.
Song.
Jesus. We got Song with all his things basically saying, no, I'm going to bring this game down and I'm going to war with Frontman and whoever is the perpetrators behind Squid Game. And he basically got himself an arsenal and he was using all of that money he was just sending an army of people to the subways to try to find the dude from Train to Busan to play that Daki game and figure out where we were going. And that was kind of fun to watch. It definitely felt like a different kind of show. And I was like, what are we going to do this season now that we're sitting here like hunting down these people? I'm like, this is kind of badass.
Well, the thing I was going to say was, regardless of how you feel about the show in general, it was different to start. Like there were 2 episodes of this. The first 2 episodes, there was no games yet. He didn't even get to the island where they do these games until episode 3. So like we had a full 2 episodes of him like prepping, building his team, bringing other people in on it, going back and forth between him and the detective, like both their journeys to trying to find this place. So like Squid Game season 2, we didn't even get any Squid Games until episode 3. Was that like good, unique that it was different, or were you at some point just kind of like, all right, let's get there, let's start this, like what's going on, why is it taking so long?
I think that's what I felt during the first episode, even though I enjoyed them with like the gangster bookie crew that he had like hired. But there was that really awesome scene, and Chris, you pointed out they had a poor song choice for it. If that song was different, that scene was the best scene of the whole season.
Russian roulette.
Yeah, it was a cool standoff between him and
Recruiter.
The recruiter. Yeah. Really cool. So it was cool to have that moment.
That song choice though.
Oh my god, Chris!
I was like, they want me to care about this so bad, but they're playing this song from Step Brothers, and all I could hear is boats and hoes, boats and hoes.
Yeah.
I was thinking Step Brothers the whole time.
Oh,
Whole
100%.
time.
As soon as Chris, you watched this before us and you're like, did you guys see it yet? Because there's something with the song that I just thought, well, I just kept cracking up. And as soon as that scene starts, you hear that song, you're like, oh my God, friggin' Step Brothers ruined this song forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
Well,
can't unhear it. And it's,
yeah.
as soon as that
As
you hear
as
that song now, you just start to hear Will Ferrell, and you just it's over.
as cool as that scene was, and I'm glad they played out that way. Like they both pulled the trigger 5 times and never went off the sixth bullet, and then the recruiter decides like he's gonna be honorable and take it. But like I just have this thing where it's like realistically, this is not how this would have went down. Realistically, as soon as Song got that gun, he would have just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, and shot that guy in the chest and took his
100%.
key. But like he wanted to be
100%.
like, I'm brave, I'm honorable, like I'm gonna play this game with you. Like, especially when it got down to there only being 2 left. We went through these first 4 rounds. Like Song would have been like 1, 2. Like if it's not the first one, it's the second one. Uh I get it why you have to do it for the show to make it like, dramatic, but come on, come on. In real life, there's no way. As soon as he handed me that gun, I was like, oh.
Yeah, but
That's
uh,
true.
but maybe there's a cultural thing, There's all kinds of stories through history of samurais falling on their swords and honor being a lot different.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, you
These
got to
people already
figure,
tried to kill him, so
yeah, this dude has spent how long trying to find this guy, go after him. You know what I mean? So he maybe was no,
It
he
was
would
just
have
like
exacted his revenge immediately if he could.
yeah, exactly. It was like I'll show you. I'm more strong-willed than you. Like no. We would. That's not how it would have
yeah.
happened if it was me anyway. So
But
whatever.
it was a cool scene. Like it was definitely. I mean, poor song choice ahead, and I mean any other moment that song would have worked if they would have done it before Step Brothers. But
Yeah.
like it was a great scene of just kind of like anticipation, stress, like where are we going with this? Because we've obviously seen like Russian roulette shows or scenes and moments before, but they don't always go that far.
Deer
So
hunter.
it was kind of wild to even when they were doing the earlier the rock paper scissors -1.
I was gonna say that was a tense scene too.
Yeah,
So even though, yeah, I guess I brought up that we didn't get the actual Squid Game until episode 3, but episode 1 and 2 both had their very tense moments that felt just as stressful as watching a game. You
yeah.
know.
It was just weird that they were both kind of built around Russian roulette.
Yeah. That one was yeah, that -1 was good. That was a nice move that they had with the boss doing that. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah,
cool.
not
He didn't. He
minusing
didn't want.
one.
He didn't want
Yeah.
to pull one back, so it cost him
Right.
his life. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy.
No, it was a good. I enjoyed, to answer your question. I enjoyed the opening. The first 2 episodes, I wasn't in a rush to get to actual Squid Game. I didn't even know if they would. I mean, I guess I did trailers to kind of let me know he was involved in the games, but I didn't really know how he was going to get there or what was going to happen. So I mean, I was down with the hunting. I always like one of my favorite like tropes, I guess, within just stories in general is I love revenge. So I love so I love when like the people who think they have the master plan backfires on them. And they have that like, oh shit, I didn't anticipate this. I didn't anticipate Kurt Russell hunting me down after I kidnapped his wife. I didn't anticipate, that I don't know why Breakdown was my go to, but I love that movie because Kurt Russell's a badass. I mean, he's always a badass, but he's like a badass every man in that. Like, I want my wife. Uh,
You must really love Kill Bill. That's 2 films about nothing but revenge.
Yeah, but I always like when people like even a step further from that, but when people just think they're above revenge, like we're so perfect, we can't be revenged upon,
I
So
can't get got.
yeah, we can't get got. We're the Squid Game. Who's this guy? He ain't gonna stop us. So like when he starts like ruffling their feathers and starts like hunting down their people, I'm like, yeah, get him, So I enjoyed the first couple episodes before we even got to the island. I was kind of mad that we really didn't get more of that. He had an army. I was like, they're coming in the boat. They got the tooth chip. They're going to track him right to that island, and they're going to bust in and start firing. And that didn't happen.
No, they decided when all his plans were falling apart, he said, "Let me back in the games."
Yeah.
Which I guess I
It was
have
a
some
choice.
thoughts. I have some thoughts about his execution and plan and what he thought was going to happen.
Share 'em.
But
Get on it.
no, I mean we can go through the other stuff first before we get all the way to the end. But yeah, I mean it was like it was cool. Like yeah, I'm into Korean revenge, man. Korean revenge is a thing.
Yeah, so I dug the first few episodes, but then of course when we got there, starting the game off with the red light, green light, which was obviously the most iconic, I think, of all of those games that they played even in the first season. So getting back to there, but then also getting back to like he knows this. So how is this going to play out different when he can like prep everybody and prepare them, which of course came across about as well as it probably would, where they'd be like, "Who's this drunk idiot? What's he talking about?" And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. And was it the leader or the head guy's plan all along to have red light, green light as the first one and then change them all up completely? Or because Sung was so successful at helping some people during red light, did they decide, okay, we have to change this up?
No, I think they had that plan in place to let him feel comfortable, and then we're going to
Sure.
change it.
I think they probably knew that once he announced that he was a player from the past, a winner from the past, and then it would be so his next go-to will be like, "Oh, you knew red light, green light, so you know everything that's going to happen. Let's let these people believe you can help them through all these games." When nope, you don't know what the fuck's coming your
Right.
way.
The other thing that they never really established was it was 3 years later, and there's nothing that ever said they ever play the same games over and over again.
I think he just assumed that when red light, green light was the first
Yeah.
game.
So
Yeah.
it's like they could just be laughing like this idiot. We always do red light, green light first because we spent a shit ton on this robot. So, so we're always doing this one first. But
We can't use that arena for anything else.
yeah, I mean that's all we could do there. So we're gonna keep doing that one. But he's an idiot. He thinks we do the same thing every year. Our rich benefactors would get bored if we did the same thing every year.
Did it bother anybody about red light, green light that even though he was covering his mouth, he was still moving a lot?
Yeah, he was moving a little bit.
He would have been shot. There was other people who would have been shot. Like, yeah, exactly. That is not
You moved.
that's not triggering the sensors of movement.
I feel like they would have just shot him.
And then of course the first girl got killed. Who I didn't
Well, you
expect
knew was going to get killed, even though you thought maybe she's going to be one of these primary.
I thought she
supporting
might be.
actors.
I thought she might be one of them.
Yeah.
And then of course everyone starts running around after the first person gets killed. And I was like, why are you guys running around? Like, I mean, I guess it's just human nature to panic when someone gets shot, and then some people are gonna run no matter what. But like, you see what's happening. Like, the person next to you just got shot because they moved. Like, stop! You're not going to survive. I didn't understand. And then the other part of it, which we didn't talk about yet, was this another twist of this. I think it might have been the end of episode 2, that the girl we thought was getting recruited to the games really got is one of the pink soldiers. Yeah, she's one of the guards, which they made you think as a viewer she's going to be in the game. She's whatever, but then no, at the end of the episode she's like zipping up her outfit. And you're like, what the fuck? And it kind of that was a cool aspect of the show, along with the front man entering himself in the game. Those are like the two big differences from season 1, giving you a perspective of the guards. But then it gave you a perspective of the guards shooting people in red light, green light.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found that kind of funny that like they were so good. Like, it's just somebody in there being like, number 400, and they could just like find them. I don't know. For some reason in season 1, I thought it was automated guns.
Mm-hmm.
I
But
feel like
no,
I thought I remembered that too, but
you got the best snipers in the world who can quickly find this number in this crowd of 456 people to shoot them.
That you
know what I
recruited
mean?
off the street because
Right,
they
who are
were
just-
in need of money.
Yeah.
Like the
So that's the
guards aren't
thing.
much different than the actual participants.
No.
Well, it seems like most of them have been doing this for a while. What does she do? She goes and works at a carnival in the meantime.
Yeah, and she danced around with Strawberry Hat. Little girl
Right,
with
she was
Strawberry
a-
Hat was so cute.
Yeah, she
Adorable.
was. Then her dad died later.
Yeah, it took me a minute to realize that Strawberry's Hat dad was in the games.
Yeah,
Did he die?
I think so. I think he was one of the.
He wasn't ceremoniously. He died, and they kind of did a camera on him, but he didn't They didn't like.
No, because there was one episode later where he was like, "Please, I have a sick daughter," and they shot him anyway.
Yeah,
I don't think Strawberry has dad is dead.
He is.
he's dead. He's dead, dude.
They killed him.
That's how that guard girl's gonna end up being the guardian of the little Strawberry Hat.
I thought Strawberry Hat's dad was in the last episode.
He might have been, but I think he died in the last one.
He died on the stairwell when they cornered them. He was one of the last shooters there, and he said what Don said when they walked in. He said, "Please, I have a sick daughter," and they shot him.
I think
During the
Strawberry Hat's dad
rebellion.
is alive.
You just blocked it out. You want him to be alive, but he's not.
I think he's alive.
But I had to ask. I'm like, wait, was that Strawberry's head?
Yeah.
But I mean,
No.
granted, I don't know if they necessarily showed him dead. He didn't
I
get
think
like put
he's
in a
one of the
casket.
guys
You're looking it
who-
up on your phone. Okay.
I have to know
Yeah.
because I'm going to be distraught if Strawberry Hat's dad is dead.
No,
Well,
he's
that
dead.
was, I mean, one of the things too, with just large cast of characters and and they were tied loosely together somewhere. It was sometimes easy to be like, wait, and everything happened so fast. I'm like, wait, was that one of our people?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know? So unless
You
they
didn't
had a
mind him.
really like strategic gimmick like Thanos, I knew who Thanos was because he was a hilarious rapper. I knew who the crazy shaman lady was.
Mhm.
I know the mother and the son.
Yeah.
Like they were, they got that attention, but then you had those like minor characters like Strawberry Hat or some of like Thanos's crew, and who didn't really, they were like involved but not involved,
Yeah.
and they would
Yeah.
kill them and like in rampages, and I was like, wait, was that
Did
so?
we just did we just lose one of our guys? Did we just lose one of our characters?
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And the show is great at that moment of just kind of like, who are they going to kill? Because clearly they can kill everyone. Strawberry's Hat, is he still alive?
His death is unconfirmed because
It's
they don't,
they
they don't show us where he was shot.
It's true.
Okay.
They didn't show him. He didn't go in a casket. You didn't
It is
see
when they
him.
go to surrender. And what if it's her? What if she shot him in the arm?
They can easily walk that one back.
I'm just saying. I
Well,
feel
that's-
like if he would have died, it would have been one of those things where I was like, "Oh my god," or
But-
I've trauma blocked it out.
I-
don't know.
But we didn't focus on him very much though inside the games though. Like every now and then he would pop up on the side. Like they didn't make him like one of the people.
Yeah, during Ring Around the Rosie, he was in the group a couple times, I want to say. So it was like, oh, okay, they're involving him now. So then it was kind of like, okay, it's part of our group now. But then, yeah, all right, sorry.
No, and he was like a side story, because even that guard, she's a side story. Like
Yeah.
I still don't really know exactly her deal ultimately, and so like that's a whole side plot that's over here doing its own thing that I have a feeling might come involved, but I still don't know the point of any of it at this point.
What out of all these new games? So we had Red Light, Green Light, which we're familiar with. So that's its own thing. But then we had a bunch of new games. We had the relay race. We had
That was
the,
2 episodes.
right? Because
Yeah.
it started in one and ended in the other. Then we had the merry-go-round or Ring Around the Rosie. That was its own.
And that was
What
2
was the-
episodes.
What was there was one more we saw, or was that the last one?
Those
we
were it.
really
They did.
saw?
Yeah, they did Red Light, Green Light in episode 3, and then like episode 4 and 5 was the relay race, and episode 5 and 6 was the carousel, and then 7 was the rampage or the
Uprising.
The uprising.
They called it they called it get ready for a special game when they were talking to the staff, which is
Okay.
basically the nighttime they're going to turn on each other game.
Right, which
Mhm.
they count on them eventually killing each
Always
other.
doing, yeah.
Out of
Yeah, and
those
you
two,
know, how are you supposed to sleep when you have 500 people that you think might kill you? I think how they should do it is they should get some Magic Mind sleep, because I got some Magic Mind sleep this week, and I've had the best sleep that I've had in a long time, taking my little chill pill my sleep elixir. I took my first shot of this, and I felt like 2 minutes after I took it, I felt so chill. I was sitting there watching Babylon 5, and I
Bringing
was
it back
just
to Babylon 5.
back. And I'm always back to Babylon 5. I was just sitting there watching an episode, and I was just zoned into it, more focused, but like super relaxed. And I slept. And you know what my favorite thing about this stuff is? No melatonin. You guys take melatonin? Have you taken melatonin?
I've never tried it. I have family members that have bad reactions to melatonin, so I'm like, I'm not gonna risk it. I feel like it's a bloodline hereditary thing. So
Yeah, I've never dabbled.
I've taken just like 1.5 milligrams, 2 milligrams of melatonin, and it like wrecks me. Like the next day, I just like I wake up and I sleep solid, but I wake up the next morning and I'm groggy for a couple hours, and it's just that. So when they were like, "Yeah, there's no melatonin in this," it was just the fact that it had like a lot of stuff that's in your teas, like chamomile, lemon. Obviously, is super good. It has that ashwagandha, which is a really big focus thing, but just helps you sleep, wake up refreshed, and improve your sleep quality. So I was just like,
I
this
didn't even
is
know that they were doing a sleep one.
yeah, it's new.
Do you take both of them in the same day?
Yeah, I've done that. Take
Okay.
Magic Mind regular shot during the day, and one you just have to take it 30 minutes before bed.
Hmm.
And it just chills
Well,
you out.
I have a
chills you out.
hard time going to sleep and staying asleep. I'll lay down and then I'll probably be up for another 2 hours. Yeah. Am I looking at my phone a little bit? Yeah. Am I trying to sleep? It's not working back on my phone. That's probably not a good thing, but I don't know. Should try something to help. Because then all of a sudden I only get 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah. So I think if you sound like Tony and you think you need more sleep, or you're in a room with 456 other people who may want to kill you, and you need to relax somehow so you can play the next Squid Game, use our code magicmind.com/raisedgeekjan for January, JAN. Everything's down in the description below. That's going to get you 45% off a Magic Mind bundle using that link. Once again, magicmind.com/raisedgeekjan, JAN, down in the description. Check that out.
Just remember Jan, the middle child from the Brady Bunch.
It's Jan Brady, guys.
Bam, Jam Brady. All right. Well, let's get back to our conversation here about Squid Game 2. We were talking about these games. We were up to the carousel game, or which new game was your favorite?
I was just saying that's what I was going to ask. Out of those two games they played, they both gave me anxiety.
True.
But for some reason, like even I remember watching season 1 and then I did it again watching season 2. You like put yourself in their position and you're like, I would die. Like that second one with the relay race, I was like, there's no way I would have lived this. Like those games look hard. I don't know which one of those I could have done well. I wouldn't have been good doing the like 1 2 1 2. We'd have been falling all over the place. I'd have been fucking punching somebody if they weren't doing it right. Like that shit was stressful. That shit gave me anxiety.
It's supposed to.
I know. And that's
that
that's the
carousel
point.
game was messed up. That whole thing, musical chairs type thing. We're going to put you on a carousel. We're going to just say a random number. You grab those people and have to fight to get into a room. Like that was chaos. Those 2 episodes were outstanding. And it was chaos, and it made me super anxious because there was no skill to it. You just had to like run into a room. And I mean, I think my plan would have just been, I'm just going to beeline for a room and already be in one when people show up.
But then that doesn't work either. If they
What if
come
4
with their
people run up, they're all stronger than you and their team, and they just pick you up and throw you out?
That's a risk, but
what was brilliant about the format, like not even for the show, but just like if you're thinking along the lines of this is how the front man and the VIPs would have set this up. Like the second game, the relay race makes you form bonds with people. Like now all of a sudden you've won. These 4 other people are your friends. So going into game 3, we're all gonna stick together. Whatever comes our way, we're gonna do this together. Then game 3, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're splitting you up. Like only 4 of you can go.
Only try each other, guys.
Yeah, only you can go. That's genius to make people distrust each other, which is what they want to do. They want people to start distrusting each other, and then adding in the whole vote thing.
They didn't do that in season 1, right?
No, that wasn't part of it in season 1.
Oh.
So adding that in also like builds distrust. Because at first, when they first introduced that idea, when they were explaining the rule, you in your head are like, why wouldn't everyone just after the first game and you just watched 50 people get mowed down by assault rifles, why wouldn't everybody say we're done? Well, because the people we're dealing with are desperate for money, and that's not enough for me to
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gamblers.
be here. Yeah, that's not enough. I gotta take my life back. I'm in trouble when I get out of here. Like, I'll risk it again. And that just added more to distrust. So, like, blue circles over here, red X's over here, which leads to the whole thing that made me uncomfortable in the last episode, or the second to last episode, of all those fucking murders. That's the only problem I have with this show, is sometimes some of that stuff gets heavy to me. It's like seeing the true how savage people can be. And I know it's just a show, but it also, like, kind of reflects real life. It's like, yeah, some people would fucking kill you for nothing, for money, for
Right.
them to gain shit. And, like, yeah, some of that stuff at the end, like when they're fucking crawling on women and stabbing them with forks in the neck, I'm just like, this is getting a little too much for me, man. That was my only problem with the show in general. Is like, sometimes I started getting that ick feeling, like, I don't know. I don't know. I can watch Ghostface and Mike Myers kill people, but just like desperate humans
Yeah.
killing each
savagery
other
in the
yeah, it's
apocalypse.
just like, no, it's a little rough.
They didn't have their lanterns.
Exactly.
They would have had lanterns down. Everything would have been fine.
They would have had
Yeah,
lanterns
yeah.
and guns sitting in the corner waiting. If I would have had my DVDs.
Well, that's different.
I will say that, yeah, in the first season, they gave them the opportunity to quit, and they did. After the first game, first game, I think. They all quit and
Was
they went
it?
home. But then
Is that true?
Yeah. And then
I don't remember that.
they give them the chance to go back to the island, and most of them ended up returning to come back. They realized once they went home, they were still broke and shitty and messed up. So
About
they
to
ended
get
up
their
going
legs
back.
broke.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
man. Yeah, dude, it's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Look at
For
this.
real.
You watch somebody get stabbed in the throat over and over again.
Yeah, it's rough.
Normal.
I think you're supposed to feel ick about it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
loved Frontman fucking up that top. That was killing me. I was laughing when he was messing up that game. He's like, "What's wrong with me?"
Dude, so here's my thing. Frontman put himself in there.
Yeah.
Obviously,
For like a
not everyone
rush.
knows, because that one soldier saw him and was surprised when he recognized him.
Yeah. Nobody knew he was doing it.
So was he willing to risk it all there on that top game? Because, like, he almost lost.
I think he, in my mind, it was him saying, I'm in this game because
If I can do this.
It's adding a twist to me. It's making it exciting to me to do this. So whatever happens to me is what's going to happen to me.
Because he
Because
was the one
he had
who
no problem. He had no problem killing guards either. You know what I mean? He was committed.
Yeah.
To this until the very end.
Because he even, like, yeah, he was fucking up that top, but I feel like he knew he could get it, and he wasn't worried about Song doing the kicking thing, because then when Song fucked up that fifth kick, that Frontman threw his leg out there and was like, "No, you're kicking this thing because I'm not dying here."
Right.
He was like, "Okay, I fucked around, but we're not doing this."
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought that was a fun dynamic of throwing him in that game, throwing him in general. But yeah, when he started just like screwing around, and you could see him just like leaning down and just waiting and smiling, I was just like, that dude is having the time of his life.
Well, he had the opportunity to change the game a lot of times. Like him being 1 and Song being 456, they were either the first vote or the last vote.
Yeah.
Like he could have changed the game after the second vote. He could have voted to have them all stay and like given himself up then, but he didn't. He pressed the X because he probably knew it was coming. Like, we're doing another vote, and that's when all the people are going to start turning on each other. Yeah, that shit was
So
kind
here's
of
one
wild.
thing that I will say. Several scenes or shots, they show Song always kind of still thinking, what's up with this guy? Something's up with this guy. He's not too sure. But then he trusts him again, but then he'll give him a look. Is there something, correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy who infiltrated in the first season, the old man, was also number 1, and he ended up being part of this thing. Is there a reason why Song isn't being like, I shouldn't trust the number 1 guy ever again? It's probably, there's probably some involvement here.
There's probably some shady going on.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you trusted in number 1 again as your number 1? It's like,
didn't-
dude.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that, so I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but I'm like, and then part of me is like, maybe Song is gonna know and it's gonna be a twist in the next season. I don't know. It can go anywhere.
Well, that's another one of my. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna segue into nothing. So go.
No, I was just gonna say, and one thing I kind of alluded to a little bit. That's my biggest issue with this, and this is with any show, is a season in the middle that feels incomplete. There's no beginning and end to it. Like this is, we know how this show ended. Like spoilers, obviously we said that already, but like his best friend gets killed and he's screaming and the show's over. And it's like, see you next year for season 3. I do not like that. I do not like when that happens. It feels cheap in a way. And it's like, okay, if you could have just said this is part 1 of season 2, part 2 of season 2 is coming, whatever. At least let me know ahead of time instead of watching these 7 episodes and being like, all right, because everything feels just kind of like, I don't know, incomplete, and it's like I don't have the full story. I'm a person who just likes to have a season of television give me a story from beginning to middle to end, and then if we're doing another season, let's do something else with it. It's like I already know season 3 is going to be the second half of season 2, so is it really even a season 3?
Yeah, okay, it's not. I agree. I was mad. I was annoyed, and it felt cheap, and I kept second guessing. I was like, no, that can't end like this because Netflix said one more to go when I finished the last one. This has to be the last episode. Why did they end it like this? But then when I watched the Severance recap, because that had just premiered, it basically ended the same way, of somebody yelling and was distraught and left it open and we didn't get any answers to. I was less annoyed with Severance than I was with this.
But I think it depends on a cliffhanger is a cliffhanger, but this is like wasn't even a cliffhanger. It was just in the middle of what was happening. Like it felt very incomplete in that way, where Severance, yeah, we built to a cliffhanger, but we also built to that moment, and that was where the finale was. And this is just like we were in the middle of something and you're just like, all right, see you next year. Right. And you're like, wait, it just felt incomplete. And sometimes there's ways to do it where it feels incomplete. And like I said, like Don said, this one clearly felt like they just split the season in half and said this, felt more mid-season than finale to me. But I agree with I understand what you're saying. Because Severance did the same. They still had a cliffhanger, and I think cliffhangers are good, but then and once again, we're not going to talk about Severance, so I'm going to stop talking.
We'll get to Severance next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Just sometimes it feels like a cliffhanger is the end of the season and we'll pick up and do something. But this one just felt like we were right in the middle of it. You know what I mean? Like a season ending with us going dun dun dun. Yeah, that's one thing. But just being like cut off so dramatically right in the middle of a scene is like, okay, is season 3 going to start with him laying on the floor screaming still? I don't know. It's just a little felt not satisfactory in that way.
So let's say it had that scene, then they dragged him away into their barracks area, and then the lights went out and it said, get some rest, game 4 is tomorrow, and then it ended. Would that have been less annoying and more satisfying? You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So it wasn't, I don't know how I would have separated it.
The only way you could have separated is exactly what they did at the first one, which was finish the games. So you needed to give me 10 episodes and get me through this game. Like clearly a season of this is the Squid Game. So this one should have been Squid Game, the second round. And now we're going to come back and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to start us and be like, here's the next game. And we're going to we're going to go where we're going to go. And you're like, well, wait, this is still the second game of Squid Game. Right. So unless they finish the second one, there's no way to split it in the middle. We didn't finish the season yet.
Yeah, they obviously they wanted the bad guys to win this second season. Like this is their Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean? Like the next one's gonna be Return of the Jedi. But I feel like it could have been Ewoks. Yeah, I was just more thinking like, yeah, this round of Squid Game is going to end this season, and season 3 will be the next game. That's just how I thought. Maybe that was my own fault for thinking that.
No, for like it's because, and I should have saw this coming because I didn't know how many episodes there were going into this. I didn't realize it was only, what is it, 7 or 8?
7.
Yeah, I think 7.
So, and then I probably should have started wrapping my head around it when realizing, like we said, the first 2 episodes, there was no games yet. The next 2 episodes was one game. The next 2 episodes was another game. And it's like, there's only 1 episode left. You don't have time to do all the other games yet.
6 games they're supposed to get through, right?
So probably should have saw it coming, but no, I see what you're saying. They should have finished the games or beat the big bad by the end of this. Yeah. You know?
And also this, like, not to keep this going and going and going, but like Song's whole plan to me never made sense. They should have known they were going to get massacred. Like, we're just gonna take their guns at some point. Like, you could have done that any other time. Like, why all of a sudden now is like, we'll take the couple guys' guns that are in the room, then we're just gonna fight an army and just have very limited ammunition. Like, did you think that was gonna go well? Like, his whole plan this whole time was to shut the game down. Then why did you even enter it? That was just his way to get back to the island and figure it out as we go.
Well, I mean, his plan was to have his team track him and he'd get there and have a bunch of dudes with guns to back him up. You know what I mean? With his tooth tracker. That was his initial plan. He's supposed to have 12 guys arrive by boat and bust in and save them. And that's obviously out the window.
But by the time you realize your tooth tracker has been pulled out and now your team can't come with you, at this point, his plan should have shifted to, I just have to get through this and have as many people alive at the end as I can.
Instead of trying to combat them. Yeah.
Or get everybody out by getting enough votes to get the X.
And I think that was the next step of his plan.
His plan. It's that he's tried to do.
And then when that backfired and he realized he couldn't do that, then he got desperate and was just like, well, give me the guns. He just became fucking Will Wheaton and Toy Soldiers.
Well,
I had one of those machine guns.
Dude, that's a great reference, Chris, because there is something silly about that entire plan and the visuals of all of them. And then all of a sudden, like the big thing with, there's more ammunition. It felt like an afterthought of, there's more ammunition in their pockets. Check their pockets. And it was like it just seemed like a weird thing that was maybe added. I don't know.
Right.
It didn't. The first visual I saw of them all with guns fighting back, I was happy they were fighting back, but at the same time, I was like, this show just got weirder than I ever thought it would. You know?
Yeah. How do you think you're gonna win this against?
Right.
You know,
it's a giant death corporation that
Right.
literally like teases you at money and survive. Like, I don't know.
But we also know most of those guards are junkies.
We know that, but they don't.
No, they don't. Yes, it can
You know
be
what I
an
mean?
army, and it is an army in its own way.
And a lot of these people that are in these games have special forces training, or they're ex-Marines,
Right.
or like all of
right.
a sudden she was like the MP5 and she starts running through it, and I'm like, she was a special forces operator before this. I'm just like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in it at this point. This is the last
How
episode.
come you
I'm in it.
how come you didn't display those skills earlier on?
Sure, right.
As a special forces person.
Right.
So, I'm not shitting on it now. There's just little things where I was just kind of like, this is the direction they went this time.
Yeah.
I really dug the uprising and what they were doing, because once again it comes back to my revenge thing. They didn't expect it. They got the guns. They were wasting the guards. I was like, yeah, get them, give it to them. Then it just kept going, and it ultimately became like one of the most boring shootouts ever. Put on film. And I was just watching this thing and it felt very like indie film, where we're just gonna be like pow 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 pow, and there's no like action, there's no movement. It's just people sitting behind barriers shooting guns with endless ammo, and it went on for 2 episodes, and I was like, all right, this is an extremely boring shootout.
No, I honestly liked this show, which we've all said. I did not really like the finale. I'll be honest. I thought it was exactly what you just said, just an entire episode of shoot, hide, talk, shoot, hide, shoot at someone behind on the stairs. Everyone keeps just going back and forth. Like, felt very, I don't know,
It was just repetitive.
Repetitive, yeah.
That whole thing could have been done in 10 minutes.
Yes.
That whole
You could have got where you needed to go. We didn't need to shoot for 40 minutes to then get to your cliffhanger, your mid-season drop off.
Seemed like production had a lot of guns in storage and a lot of blanks, and they're like, guys, we need to use these. So everybody gets a gun.
Yeah, so I mean that was, and once again it kind of like dampened the season, because it just kind of ended. We got no resolution really on anything. We're still asking all the questions that we need the second half of the season for. So I'm like, I'm here for season 2.5. I enjoyed watching just about everything of the season. I laughed, I teared up, I felt emotional when I needed to. Like I was in. I enjoyed this more than I even enjoyed watching season 1. In a lot of ways. So I'm here for it and I enjoyed it. But yeah, ending it with a 45-minute just boring shootout was not the best way to want me to come back.
Agreed.
Later, I think it's this year.
It is 2025, yeah.
When was that anyone else not sad when Thanos died?
Oh, why would I be sad? He was a prick.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I forgot
dude.
he died.
I was just like, thank you. I was like, finally, this is happening.
No, I
Yeah.
dug it. Thanos cracked me up, but he was a piece of shit. So
Dude, he was annoying, man.
There weren't too many deaths that I was emotional about. When maybe I should have been. Like when the girl got killed at the end, and she wasn't even like a huge main character, but like remember the girl who was originally with Thanos, but then I kicked her out, and then she was against them, and she died in like the uprising in the beds.
yeah.
Because the one dude was a fucking coward and wouldn't do anything and like was hiding up on the
That
bed.
was the military, the Marine that was hiding, right?
No,
that was
her
it was
little
the
buddy
other-
that was with Thanos too.
Gotcha.
It was like the young boy that they were using,
Yeah.
that Thanos' group was using, and he like basically let her die because he was hiding and like covering his ears on top of the bed. That one hurt me. I hated that. I hated that one.
That was the worst one probably.
Yeah.
When I felt the most like emotion, and it did, and ultimately didn't happen, but when they were doing the carousel game and the dude got separated from his mom,
That was so sad.
and I was just like, oh my god, like he was getting pulled away and they were playing the music and they edited it perfectly with just like the last second them grabbing that old lady and shoving her in one of those rooms, and I was like, yeah. But
Yeah, I
was
thought
just
she was
like,
going
oh
at that
shit,
point.
I really thought she had it. I thought that was it for her.
Yeah.
And the fact that they saved her was awesome. But I was feeling it before it happened. I was like, no.
Well, it's like
mom.
he could have fought those dudes off and stayed with her, and he didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and that was the saddest part of that. Yeah, I had an issue with that same death scene that you'd said, Don. It sucked.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
I
one was
liked her.
rough.
I liked her as a character, and I was really hoping there was going to be that moment of redemption for that kid who was scared because he does try to drop the bottle down on him or something and misses, and then he doesn't do anything after that. I'm like, shit, I really wanted that kid to jump down there and do something.
The one who gave her the most shit during that season wasn't even Thanos. It was the other kid, like Thanos' sidekick with the like.
That's the one who killed
longer hair. So I think season 3, he's gonna get his revenge on her. That's my prediction.
I'm hoping
he'll man up or something and like take her out. There's just so many unanswered things. That's the issue with having this feel like just part 1 and part 2 of a season. Like, so much shit that we don't know what's gonna happen, and they didn't finish.
Yeah, they didn't finish the story.
Yeah.
I want more. I wanted more is ultimately why I was mad.
Yeah, like what's going on with the girl, the guard girl, the girl in the pink, like her story's unfinished. Like everybody just
Is Strawberry Hat's dad dead? We
Right.
don't know. It's unconfirmed. Yeah, what happened with the guard? What's happened with the pregnant girl? What happened with, I mean, all of our characters, we're in this, where are we going to go now that we just had this uprising and Song's best friend just got killed?
Yeah, Song's gone, and then Leader
And-
Man, what's he going to be doing now? Is he going to be sitting in his hair drinking scotch?
Yeah,
You know what I
Front Man
mean?
went back because he put back
Right.
on the suit, and then he now has Song. So, like, where does that go?
Song doesn't even know yet that that's him.
Oh yeah. That reveal is going to be fun, but also is it going to be familiar compared to what the first season when he found out number 1 was
Right.
Yeah. Also, dude, what's going on with detective and boat crew guy? We know that the captain's bad.
Yeah,
We never got into that. The captain,
he's in on it or something.
he's in on it, and that's how they probably knew that they were coming. Got the tracker out of his tooth, so they need to explain that.
Right. Yeah, and I can't believe that dude spent 3 years and he couldn't find an island that exists where he was found. Like, he was found in the water after he got shot.
Listen, If you got a captain who's taking you to all the wrong places,
That's okay. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it now.
I know that's the explanation. Yeah,
Yeah, that is the explanation. If
but
the,
I still, yeah, all in all, I'll give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's not perfect. There were some silly things that they should have done different, and they should have wrapped it up a little tighter. But yeah,
Well, the fact that it has us warrants this much conversation from us goes to show me that it's a good watch and a fun watch and a thought-provoking watch. So I don't regret watching it, and I will be seated for season 3. So that
100%.
tells me enough, you know.
and I didn't really know if I was going to be seated for this one, and the fact that now I'm like, give me 2.5, let you know that this was solid TV.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to re-sign up for Netflix whenever it drops. After I finish American Primeval,
It's a good
I've
show.
I've heard good things. I got to start it.
You
I'm
should
in
watch
episode
that.
2.
What's that? Chris's favorite guy, Taylor Kitsch
Yeah, from Battleship.
from
No!
True Detective season 2.
It's also directed by the director of Battleship,
Peter Berg.
Peter
Say
Berg.
Battleship one more time.
I'm
Also-
just gonna keep talking about it until you decide to be like, yeah, we're gonna do an episode about Battleship.
Chris, have you seen Shocker?
No.
The movie from the late 80s?
Way back in
early-
the day?
Yeah.
No, I was always scared of the cover.
Oh my
I
God,
never
man.
watched it.
Peter Berg's the main actor in that.
Peter Berg.
He was an actor for a long time, and then he got tired of acting, and now he just makes movies that he wants.
Shocker with like the inmate in the orange
Yep.
jumpsuit on the cover. No, I never saw that.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can find the DVD somewhere.
I bet
Hey,
you
if
could.
it's at Dollar Tree, pick me up
It's
a copy.
it's like a good bad
I'm
late
sure.
80s, early 90s movie.
But yeah, you find it
Or
at
worth
Dollar Tree for $1.25. Pick me up a copy.
I'll get you 4 copies.
I only need one.
For the price of one Lars and the Real Girl.
You get
Yes. We didn't record any of that conversation. No, we did, didn't we?
Yeah,
Said
unfortunately.
before? I've been on the Zoom a long time. Well, then I think that's gonna, wrap us up. What did you think about Squid Game 2? Are you ready for Squid Game 3? Did you anything that we've talked about? We talked about a lot. This was a wide topically broached episode.
What?
Yeah.
Topically broached.
This was a wide topically broached episode.
Yeah, I said it. So, what'd you think? Have any thoughts? You know how to share it. Hit us up on social media at Raise the Geek. Email us at raisethegeek@gmail.com. Make sure if you need some sleepy time help, hit up Magic Mind Sleep. Code in the description, magicmind.com/raisethegeek. Jan, Jan, like the Brady Bunch.
If you guys have any other topics that you want widely broached, just reach out to Chris via his email. He'd
And
love
we'll
to
broach
broach them
them.
widely.
We'll
Our,
broach those topics.
Find us on social media. Our TikTok was gone for 12 hours, but now it's back, everybody. Don't worry. Our TikTok is
We're
back.
crying.
It's back. It just went dark for 12 hours just to scare you, show you what a world without TikTok would look like.
The world is out. Raise the Geek TikTok, where I only post Bears videos.
So yeah, all right, we're off the rails.
from Don.
Hey, those are some solid Bears videos that get pretty good interaction from Bears fans and
We get more interaction on the TikTok than anywhere else. So come on now.
So
You guys
we
need to
were
monetize
happy
that
that it's back,
TikTok.
just in time for another Bears season. But that's gonna do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris,
And I'm Don.
And I'm Tony.
and thanks for checking out the show.
Where geek is all we speak.